I'm going to go over a number of the starting exercises on Freecodecamp for their jQuery lessons. So let's go ahead and get into the screen share. We'll just start working through the first lessons in that part of Freecodecamp. So, all right, let me jump over to the screen. All right. I may erase some of the code that I've done on these because I worked through the challenges just to make sure I could properly go through them. But anyway, as usual, I'll read everything and then I'll just try to walk you through why I'm doing what I'm doing. So we're going to target HTML elements with selectors using jQuery. Now we have a document ready function. Now let's write our first jQuery statement. You know what? I just realized that I'm not on the very first lesson for the jQuery section, so I apologize. Give me 1 second, and we'll get to that. The first thing is just in order to add in jQuery to your code, you have to create script tags and then put in this document.ready function that gets your code ready for, or it just enables you to use jQuery. So, sorry, the first thing that we're going to do is learn how script tags and document ready work. So, let's jump to that lesson. Something was a bit off, obviously. Okay, so once this loads up, now we're going to do learn how script tags in document ready works. I may have inadvertently not erased the code. Yeah, I did. So anyway, that's the end product. So let's just get rid of this just so we can be working with a clean slate. So here are the directions. Learn how script tags in document ready works. Now we're ready to learn jQuery, the most popular JavaScript tool of all time. Don't worry about JavaScript itself. We'll cover it soon. Before we can start using jQuery, we need to add something to our HTML. First, add a script element at the top of your page. Be sure to close it on the following line. So what they are asking us to do is create a script element. Remember, an element is an item that we create between these little open close tags. So we'll go script element with its opening tag, and then on the next line, actually I'm going to come down to line 3 and then create a script close tag like so. Once that closes, those pink marks will go away. Okay, so we've created this script element that's open and closed, just as they've said. And it said on the following line, I'm just doing an extra line because I'm going to already tell you something will go in between these tags. Inside your script element, add this code. So it's basically this $sign document, which is just talking about the document as a whole. .ready function, which just means that it's ready to take different jQuery commands, and we're going to get into different things jQuery can do. So we're going to add this document.ready within the script tags or within the script elements. So we'll grab this part of it, just copy paste. I mean, if you like to type, but I think it's much quicker if we just paste. This document.ready function is not closed. It's actually still open. So to your script, then close it on the following line inside your script element with this. Basically, it's a curly brace, regular parentheses, and then a semicolon. So we'll copy that. And then what we want to do is drop this on line number 4 like so. Because stuff is going to eventually go right in this area, different jQuery code, to have the different HTML elements do things. So we did that. Then close the element still inside your script element with XYZ. So we did that. We'll learn more about functions later. The important thing to know is that the code you put inside this function will run as soon as your browser has loaded your page. This is important because without your document ready function, your code may run before your HTML is rendered, which would cause bugs. So, everything's about order of operations and making sure that you're thinking about how a real web page would operate, and everything wouldn't cause the page to have loading errors and just things to not work correctly for end users. Because the reason we're doing all this is to make things that end users can easily use and be happy with. So we'll run the test and see if this all passes. It did. So we simply made two script tags, or we made a script open and close element, and then we put our document.ready function in between the script. So that's just like the absolute, starting line position for jQuery. Now, the exercise that I inadvertently began with, now we're going to start to target. Things within the HTML. Let me reset this. Just a second. Let's see, clear my code. Because we should have that document.ready up there. So yes, now we do. Sorry, I did these lessons before, and I sometimes put things in order that may not be what's on your screen. So hopefully you've got your script element, you got your script close element, your document.ready function right in between. Starting from there, now that we have a document ready function, now let's write our first jQuery statement. All jQuery functions start with a $, usually referred to as $ operator or simply boolean. jQuery often selects an HTML element with a selector, then does something to that element. Here's an example. Let's make all of your button elements bounce. Just add this code inside your document ready function. So $, we're selecting the buttons. What are the buttons? Well, let's take a peek. If you see these buttons, you've got button elements, all over the place. Basically these guys, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are buttons. So what we're telling jQuery to do is jQuery select these buttons and add a class, or add this element called animated animation. So what you're telling the buttons to do is take on this new feature, which happens to be an animated bounce. That's all it's saying. Note that we've already included both the jQuery library and animate.css library in the background so that you can use them in the editor, so that you are using jQuery to apply the animate.css bounce class to your button elements. Okay, so they basically have taken care of a little of our work for us. So we want to use the jQuery add class function to give the classes animated and bounce to our button elements. Okay, and then we want to, if I pull down the screen, only use jQuery to add these classes to the element. All right, so let's get it. We have to work in between this document.ready function. So the way we work in between it is, here's a curly brace and here's an end curly brace. We're going to literally come in here and create a new line to write some code. So we'll use the jQuery $ to target, in regular parentheses, we want to target the buttons. And kind of like we would target an element using CSS, we're going to target it again using quotations. And since it's button and not a class of button, we just write the word button like this. And then that's done. Then we're gonna do this .add class. That tells jQuery that we're going to add kind of like a stylization element, or at least we're gonna add something into this button element that we've created in HTML. We have to use quotes, and what they want us to do is add animated space bounce. And if you look over at the phone example, the buttons will start to bounce once we get everything in place. So they start bouncing now that the code's written. You'll see them just do that little bounce action. So again, we did $, and then similar to how we use CSS, we've targeted on this button element, which are all 6 of these guys, all 6 of these button things on the phone. And then we've added a class, and it just is this bounce animation, which is called animated bounce. And we've got it. So that worked well. We're going to continue to add different functions within this jQuery script that's up top to get our various HTML elements doing things. So let this load up. Our next thing is target elements by class using jQuery. If we think back to CSS and we want to target a class within our HTML, we use dot to tell it, hey, we're communicating with you. And the same happens to be true for jQuery. So it's kind of nice that we're just kind of enhancing. And the only reason I'm erasing this is that's actually kind of the end product that we want to get to. But it's most important to figure out what we want to get to without just seeing the end answer. How did I get there? So we're targeting classes using jQuery. You see how we made all of your button elements bounce, right? We selected them with this $button. Then we added some CSS classes to them by doing this .add class, which just means add this effect. In this case, it means animated bounce. You just use jQuery's .add class function, which allows you to add classes to elements. First, let's target your div elements with the class well by using the $ and then regular parentheses quotations .well. So why don't we just follow along as they're giving us some instructions. We'll add the $ and then regular parentheses, and we want to target a class now, not just a general element like button. So we have to add the dot and then well, because it's a specific class. And now we're going to, again, well, we'll wait. So we targeted the well. Note that just like CSS declarations, you type a dot before the class name. Yes, we did that. That's good. Then let's use jQuery's .add class function to add the class animated and shake. They're 2 different things. So up here, we're going to do .add and then make sure your class is capital, regular parentheses, quotations, and it's asking us to add the classes animated and then space shake. So you'll probably see that the buttons start to do different little gyrations and different little things. It's not so much that that's amazing. It's just showing you. I'm sorry, that was supposed to be a semicolon. It's just showing you how you can target and specifically add different functionalities to code just by adding these simple commands. All right, so then use jQuery's .add class function to add the classes animated and shake, which we did. For example, you could make all the elements with the class text primary shake by adding the following to your document ready function. We could do $, then we could target the text primary class by going text -primary, and then we could do the .add class and do animated shake. But we were targeting the class well here, so we did .well and then did that. So we have definitely fulfilled what they want. I'll just show you their little task list. It was easy. Use jQuery's add class function to give the classes animated and shake to your element with the class well. Okay, only use jQuery. We did it. Should pass the test. And we should be able to go on to the next one. I don't know why this is going really slow, but it is. Let me try it one more time. Well, Oh, I see. Watch out for typos. I see that I'm missing an A in class. Now, you got the different side-to-side action. Huh. Am I still missing something? Animated. Shape. Let's see if the test passes. I know that the console kind of blew up there. It did. Temporary error, no big deal. That was the right code. I just had a typo in there that threw things off the rails. So it happens. Just try to look and make sure that you've got things spelled right and right punctuation. Let's go on here. We're going to target elements by ID using jQuery. So you can also target elements by their ID attributes. First, target your button element with the ID target3 by using the $pound target3. Because remember, in CSS, we target IDs by using the pound sign as well. That does not change, at least in these lessons for jQuery. Note that just like CSS declarations, you can use a pound before an ID's name. Then use jQuery's add class function to add the classes animated and fade out. Here's how you do this. Here's how you'd make the button element with the ID target6 fade out. It gives an example there. So I'm sorry, this is, again, the answer here. Let me just take it out and walk you through it. So we're trying to target this third button here, and we're trying to give it these add classes of animated and fade out. So to target the ID3 button, or to target the this ID target 3, I'm sorry, what we would do is do the $, regular parentheses, quotations, and now to target anything that's an ID, we need a pound. So we'll put in the pound, and then the specific ID we're targeting is target 3. Okay, so now we've got that locked, but we need to add class. So add capital CLASS, this time I'll get my spelling right, and now parentheses to add the specific classes that we want. So quotations, animated, space, fade, and then the O and out needs to be capitalized, pardon me. So as you see, now that did fade out. There's no more target 3. So that worked. I do see that I'm missing a semicolon at the end, but now the code should be tight and ready to run. Let's verify that there's nothing else. So select the button element with the ID target3 and use jQuery add class function to give it the class of animated. We did that. Target the element ID3, use jQuery add class to give it the class fade out. We gave it fade out. Only use jQuery. Looks like we fulfilled all those components. So we got that mission completed. Let's see what else we need to get done. Maybe 1, 2 more. Let's just see what we're working with. Probably make this one the last one for the very moment. So we want to delete your jQuery function. Sounds pretty straightforward, clearing the decks probably for a new thing that we'll be focusing on. These animations were cool at first, but now they're getting kind of distracting. Yes, for sure. Delete all 3 of the jQuery functions from your document ready function, but leave your document ready function itself intact. So real simple. Do not delete this. This is part of the document.ready function. The things that are not part of it are these 3 pieces right here. We'll take those out. You must have this $document.ready function, the curly brace, regular parentheses, semicolon. There can be space in between, but if you take this out, then it's going to break this function because it really doesn't know where to end. It's just like this open piece of code applying itself to nothing. So make sure you don't break it, leave that intact. We'll run it and it should pass right away. Okay, so that's where we'll stop, at least for the very second. Let me jump back over to Hangout. Stop sharing my screen. Just a real snappy intro to jQuery. Obviously, we can get more in depth and do more of the lessons, but I'll stop there, see how you do. All right, thanks.